In this video, we will walk through the beginner's guide to Google's Generative AI Studio for non-technical executives. We will cover step by step the capabilities of Google's Generative AI Studio on Google's Cloud Console. Even without any technical skills or machine learning knowledge, by end of this video, you will be customizing AI models and rapidly prototyping AI applications. We begin with a quick overview of Vertex AI, Google's machine learning platform and its capabilities. You will then be accessing Google's Generative AI Studio without downloading any application and explore multiple prompt design methodologies with real-life examples. Through clicks and not code, you will create AI application within minutes, including a sentiment analyzer, a technical customer service chatbot, and a drive-through customer order bot. Let's get started. Hi, I'm Deepak Bhaskaran, your guide to all things AI. And in today's deep dive, we will be exploring the capabilities of Google's Generative AI Studio on their Vertex platform. This walkthrough is a beginner's guide to Google's Generative AI Studio meant for non-technical executives. You do not need any technical or machine learning experience or download any applications. I will be guiding you step by step through my walkthrough document, which you can access through the description section of this video. We will explore and customize generative AI models and rapidly prototype your AI application on Google's Generative AI Studio with real-life examples. Make sure you access the walkthrough guide with the link in the description section below to follow up side by side or do it yourself offline. Before we begin our deep dive, let's baseline our understanding of key terms that we will be using throughout this walkthrough. What is Vertex AI? Vertex AI is Google's machine learning or ML platform that lets you train and deploy ML models and AI application. Think of your Vertex platform as your Play Store, which has multiple apps to enable you manage the machine learning workflows end to end, and finally deploy your AI applications within months and not years. They include AutoML, which allows you to train your data without code, custom training to give you complete control over your ML model, Model Garden, the repository of over 130 Google approved learning models, and Generative AI Studio, which gives you access to Google's AI models to meet your AI needs. In today's deep dive, we will primarily be walking through Google's Generative AI or Vertex AI Studio on Google's Cloud Console and deploy your AI application with clicks and not code. The following diagram shows a high-level overview of the generative AI workflow. The workflow always starts with a prompt. A prompt is nothing but a fancy term for an input to elicit a response from the AI model. Writing a prompt to get the desired response from the model is a practice called as prompt design. In today's demo, we will be exploring multiple prompt design methodologies, including zero-shot, few-shot, and multi-shot with real-life examples. The prompts are then sent to a generative AI foundation model for response generation. Vertex AI has a variety of foundation models that you can access without writing code. They include Gemini, their most powerful and recent multimodal prompt, Palm or Bison, which are their natural language models, Cody, the code generation and code companion, Imagen for image editing, generation, and visual captioning. You can either leverage these pre-trained models or tune them using Vertex AI's inbuilt tools. Again, you do not need any technical expertise to prep, tune, evaluate, and deploy your models. You can also leverage Vertex AI's capabilities such as grounding, which reduces model hallucination and aligns your data to multiple sources of truth, including your own data corpus, or citation check, which will add citation metadata to your response if a significant part of your response comes from a particular source. And in the last layer before the response, Vertex AI checks both the prompt and the response to ensure that they pass through the safety filters to align with your responsibility and safety index. Now that we are aligned on the terms, let's launch the Vertex AI Studio. You can access the Vertex AI platform by searching for it on Google's Cloud Console or by clicking on the link in my walkthrough document. For beginners, it might ask you to sign in. Make sure you use your personal Gmail or your Google corporate account. Once you are on the dashboard, the first item would be to create a new project. Go to the section on the top left next to the Google Cloud and click on a new project. Here I already have an existing project that I'm going to be using for the purpose. And once you have clicked or created your new project, you would be able to see that on the top left section. Now, to begin experimenting with the large language model, click on the language section under Vertex AI Studio and click on text prompt. You might also be asked to enable certain Vertex APIs. Please go ahead and do so as well. Now, this is a crowded interface. So before we get into the interface, let's talk a little bit about prompt and prompt designs. Coming back to my walkthrough document, you will find this annotated image to provide a quick overview of the prompt design. As I had mentioned earlier, prompt is nothing but a fancy term to indicate the natural language input or question. So you do not need any coding or technical understanding to provide to the AI model. The model then provides a response based on how you have structured the prompt and how you have tuned the model. The process of figuring out the best input text prompt to get the desired response back from the model is called prompt design. You can tune your AI model by playing around the parameters on the right side of the prompt interface. Begin by selecting the desired AI model. Google's Generative AI Studio Model Garden gives you access to over 130 AI models depending on your use case, be it language, coding, image, or video manipulation. You can also play around with additional parameters, including temperature, which provides you a creative elements for the model, the token limit, which restricts the input length of the prompt. The token limit is also an important aspect to consider since this directly impacts the billing of your usage. Typically, each token translates to 4 characters of input. Currently, there are 3 methods of structuring your prompt. They include zero shot prompting. This is a method where the LLM is given no additional data on the specific tasks apart from the prompt itself. For example, you can paste this text on the prompt, and once you click on submit, you would get a clear and precise answer about prompt design. With one shot and few shot prompting examples, you can provide LLM multiple or a single example for it to refer. So again, let's go back to our prompt interface and change from a free form to a structured format. Now here, I'm going to test the existing Gemini Pro model with a question. Color of the sky is blue. But what if you want a full response? Let us train the model with a single shot example. The color of the grass. And I want the model response to state the color of the grass is green, as in a full sentence. Now using this one shot example, let's see how the model now responds. As you can see, the model has changed the response to indicate a full sentence. Now let's look at an example for the multi-shot prompting. With just a few text, I have created a full-fledged sentiment analysis for movie reviews. Now I've given the model enough inputs. If text contains keywords such as engaging, enthralling, breathtaking, it's going to give him a positive review. If the person slept off, found it boring, it's going to be a negative review. So let's run it through an actual example. I have a review for the latest Godzilla movie. If you're a Godzilla fan, like my son, and then when I run it through the model, you can notice that the response changed to positive. I can also test this out to indicate how the model has been performing. So a keyword such as testing provides a response which is neutral, which is neither negative or positive. Now imagine this sentiment analysis software would have taken you years to create, and I have done it in a matter of seconds with the power of Generative AI Studio. With Google's Generative AI Studio, I can actually save my prompts. So let me save the current prompt, saying movie sentiment analysis analyzer. Now, when you go back to the language tab under the Vertex AI Studio, you would be able to find your prompt or application under the My Prompt section. Now, let's look at another option to create a true chatbot with Google's Generative AI Studio. Now, the chatbot or a multi turn chat allows the model to keep track of your conversation history and use that as a context for your response. To get started with the chatbot, you need to enable the text chat option under Start a Conversation. I'm going to go with Bison instead of Gemini Pro for this example. Now, once you're here, let's look at the common use cases with which chatbots can be leveraged for. You could leverage it for customer service, sales and marketing, productivity, education, and research. I'm going to go with customer service. So this is going to be our contextual information, which is I want to create a chatbot for customer service to answer customer questions, troubleshoot issues, and provide information for technical issues only. My laptop is slow. Can you help? The model responds, yes, I can definitely help you troubleshoot your slow laptop. Let's go through a few steps to identify the problem. Can you tell me the specification of the laptop? It's a Dell Experian. It automatically corrected the name of the model from Experian to Inspiron. And then it's asking me whether it's a Windows 10 or a Mac OS. Windows 10. Now, as you can understand, the power of this model is that this can be leveraged by any solution or any company to act as their own chatbot, which is pretty cool. Now, let's have Google's Generative AI Studio act as a chatbot for a personal conversation instead of a technical support. So, let's ask Google's Generative AI, hey, do you have a favorite show? It's going to respond, of course not. I'm an AI. I do not have a favorite show. But it can tell me about some of the most popular shows of all time. Yes, go ahead and tell me the popular shows of all time. Comes back with a response. Now, who is your favorite character in these shows? Yes. Tell me some of the most popular characters. Again, it's going to take the context of the previous conversations. So it'll understand that we are talking about the movie shows and the specific shows that was already listed. And it's going to name the key characters on the same shows, which is pretty cool. Within just a few minutes, you have learned about prompt design, created two AI applications, one for movie sentiment analysis, another for a technical support chatbot. Amazing. Now let's look at a few more use cases to understand the capabilities of Google's generative AI language modeling. Coming back to the language application, you can explore multiple options. So let's look at a financial table summarization option. So in this example, again, the input is going to be a natural language input. So you're going to copy paste from your Excel file. And as a financial analysis, you are asking Google's generative AI to summarize key insights with certain parameters. You're going to ask it to list the most important, but not more than 5 highlights. You're going to ask it to write in a professional and business neutral tone. And you want all the information to be presented back in a table format. Now let's look at how Google performs. The response comes back again in a bulleted format The company experienced a significant increases in the revenue. The total costs and the expenses follow a similar trend across all the 2 years. The net income had a substantial increase. Basic and diluted net income per share has followed a notable change, and other expenses did not experience a significant change. Now, understand, even though you are not a trained financial analyst, all of this information makes sense and you are able to access it with just a click. Now, let's look at another example or use case with Google's Generative AI Studio, which is around summarization. Now, before I go into this example, I also want to brief you the fact that Google's Generative AI Studio can be exposed via an API. So you do not need to leverage the prompt interface to summarize any of your documents. You can actually export this prompt into an API. And let's say if you are a vendor contract manager, you can then plug this in to summarize the millions of contracts that you might have with your vendors. So let's look at again at this example where we are asking generative AI to summarize an entire news article about Daniel Radcliffe. And as you can see, the summary comes back in a quick 3 sentences. You can also use Generative AI Studio to generate multiple information, whether it is a ad copy for a part-time data entry job, with the job paying around $15. And the ad copy again has been segmented, as you can note, identify into various sections without even prompting the prompt. I can also prompt it to generate interview questions for a specific role, or even ask the generative AI studio to generate dog memes for Friday at work. Hopefully, they are safe for work. That's some really funny examples. Now, let's look at another generative AI use case, extraction. You can use large language models to extract useful information from data that is otherwise difficult to work with in code, like PDF, images, transcripts, or any kind of unstructured data. Let's say we want to build an app that takes customer food orders from a drive-through window. The first step is to leverage the speech to text API and transcript the order. But the problem is that most people tend to be wordy when they order. They use a lot of ums, change their mind, or provide complex instruction. We can leverage a large language model, such as Gemini, to take a messy order and extract it in a structured way. Let's see how. In the Vertex AI Studio, I'm going to open a new text prompt and I will instruct the model to extract the items from this transcript in JSON format. And I will also specify it to separate drinks from food. Next, I will paste the transcript of the conversation on the prompt. I'm going to use the Gemini Pro model, and once we send the request, the model extracts the key information and structures it in JSON, which is easy for my application to consume. The model also identifies some nuances in the transcript, like when the customer changed the sizing or key ingredients. While JSON is a useful response format for application development, we can also instruct the model to respond in different formats. In this case, I'm going to request the model to provide the output in a tabular format. And this time we will change the prompt just a little bit and we should be getting a different output. The model is taking the information and responding in real time into a tabular representation. We will have our items with different sizes, ingredients, and option. Isn't that amazing? I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun exploring the capabilities and multiple use cases of Google's Generative AI Studio with you. Make sure you access the Beginner's Guide to Generative AI Studio for Non-Technical Executives walkthrough with a link in the description section. If you like the video, make sure you subscribe to the channel to access other generative AI deep dives, including a comprehensive overview exploring the portfolio of enterprise AI applications from AWS, Google, and Microsoft, along with product demos of various enterprise AI applications. As a generative AI architect, I have supported multiple organizations reach their generative AI goals and would love to help you on your Gen AI journey.